Thank you for taking time out of your day to tune in to So What Did You Learn, where we talk about nothing of importance. Where we learn from other people's mistakes so you don't have to. I am Alex.
I am Zach, and I am dying.
I'm Dallas, and I feel really good. And
our special guest today. I'm sorry, Dallas, do you want to do that?
Sure, our special guest is somebody very near and dear to my heart, Rico.
Hey there.
Hey.
Welcome everybody, and thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
First time doing a podcast, so bear with me if I don't know.
Virgin ears.
Virgin caster.
So how do you like the couch? Do you like the couch? Is it good?
Well, considering it's a stool, nice. Yeah.
I Lysoled it. It's fine.
Should I have put on some Purell before I got in here?
Everyone should always put on
Purell. I was going to say, or
anywhere.
maybe a black light or something
You
like
didn't
that.
see the dispenser at the door?
I saw the yellow tape that said caution. That was my first thing. As soon as I broke the tape, I was like, it might be a situation.
Welcome
here.
to the Solid Gold Studio. Please leather up.
Zach, do you want to kind of tell us why you're dying today?
Oh, God. It's a funny story because I'm an idiot. So last night I got home from the bar.
Boy.
About 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was already drunk and high.
Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday night. Because
Yes, you do.
Because I'm a wonderful citizen.
Well,
And,
also your weekend is like Thursday to Friday, right?
This is
Just
true.
like my Thursday is my Friday.
This
And
is
I spend it
very true. But it's funnier to
doing
imagine
hookers
me,
and blow.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funnier to imagine me as a degenerate. So
You're
I
right, it is. I will remember you that way from here on out.
just put it on my tombstone.
Yep. Fucking degenerate.
There's a Pez dispenser and just a fucking degenerate.
Yeah, you open the Pez dispenser, just like shit comes out.
I was just thinking it would bump your name up in his contact list from the very bottom up to D, so that's just more of a bonus for less scrolling. That's all I was thinking,
So
really.
instead of in a case of emergency contact, it's just he's a fucking
Exactly.
degenerate.
You don't have to scroll. It's just the A through D. And yeah,
I
you're
knew
right
someone who their last name started with a Z, and they got tired of it, and when they got divorced, they changed their name to something that had 2 A's at the front. So they were the very fucking front of the phone book.
Right. And often
pro
got phone calls from probably saying, "Can I come in for a meeting?" Hey, no. Just a guess. I
No,
don't
sir.
know.
My name is Anthony Anderson, and I just made a poor decision.
I'm looking for Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm sorry. I must have the wrong number. I'm sorry for bothering you.
So, Zach, what happened?
So I came.
Sorry.
So I came home. I was making a little snacky poo, and oh god, that sounds terrible. I'm low on
Tone
blood.
it down, Zach.
Never.
God.
So I was making a little food and making some bean burritos, my own refried beans. They're delicious.
words are not working.
I know, it's because I lost a lot of blood, and I'm trying to fucking tell you that.
And I believe I just heard me fried brains. Am I correct?
was
I
pretty
think
low.
that's what-
You ruined the reveal. I was going to say I'm a zombie.
Okay, my bad. I won't interrupt. If it's anything zombie, I'm all about it. So please continue on.
So I was cooking my little snack, and then I noticed, well, I'll do the dishes. What the fuck? It's gonna take a minute or two. So I literally wash one Tupperware lid, and I move on to my mandolin and just
Wait, a mandolin?
Mandolin
mandolin-
slicer.
mandolin slicer. It's a little handheld thing with a blade. It's for slicing vegetables really
Limbs.
thin. Yeah, and as we're gonna soon find out, the top of my finger. So I grabbed the mandolin with my little sponge, all soaped up, ready to go. Fuck yeah, and just. And yep, there goes my red pinky.
I swear, I think he's turning light green over here. It's like he is in your zone. Just saying.
So
horrible.
I lost about a quarter of the inch of my top of my pinky, and I just done my nails too.
Oh, that's the worst.
Right. So I sliced that off, and like I said, I'm high and drunk, so I've cut myself before. I'm an idiot. I'm clumsy. I taught myself how to cook, so No, well, whatever, no big deal.
Also taught yourself how to juggle knives.
Maybe not so well at that. I'm just saying.
I didn't say I was good at it. I just taught myself how to do it.
The wooden part's the handle, just so you know. Yeah. The other end, not so much.
So, did you go to the emergency room that night?
Well, of course I didn't.
No?
No, because the last time I went to the emergency room with a hand injury, it cost me $2,000. So,
So, what'd you do?
so I wrapped it in paper towel as best I could and just put pressure on it. And about 5 paper towel wrappings in, and it wasn't stopping bleeding. I was like, well, I should probably do something about this because that seems fucked.
My socks
you
are full of blood.
cauterized
I
it.
don't know how.
No, that would have been way cooler if I just
Heat up the burner.
I never thought about that.
like Wolverine style, put a fucking knife on the
yeah.
on the coil top and just. But no, instead I just kind of got lightheaded, and just decided it's like, I should probably walk to the hospital.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, no, it was like, oh, this isn't normal. This is bad.
Was it the 2 pints of blood on the floor that probably cued you in, and the fact that you were
I'd say that'd probably be, the starter of it.
3 shades lighter than a ghost?
We call it sit and slip and slide.
I mean, I'm Polish. I'm already white as can be, and it's just getting that lily of white skin.
All right.
So about 2 a.m. rolls around, and a friend of mine that's staying with me right now, I'm walking towards the hospital. They come back from the bar at the same time. I'd called them and hadn't gotten a call back. And I kind of gave them some shit and just like, why the fuck didn't you answer your phone? And I'm literally like holding my hand covered in blood. Yeah, and just like...
And they're just,
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah, I mean, when I used to work on trains, another train story, I was cleaning.
Train story.
Yeah, well, I was cleaning, so we used razor blades to scrape glue off the goddamn laminate.
Goo or glue?
Glue, like dried glue off the thing. So then the razor blade would get all coat.
Wait, he just said razor blade and coke. What's
razor
on
blade.
Dallas's mind?
So what I would do is I would just soak a rag in acetone and then just clean all the fucking stuff off, right?
Sure.
So I was cleaning the razor blade and I could hear it. My whole from the bottom to the top of my finger, you can see
Yeah.
the
Like,
scars.
oh my
He's-
gosh! And this he's
it's
showing
about
me
2
it's a
inches
line
tall.
that goes
Nice.
from probably that first joint on his palm all the way to the tip.
About
or
the size
like,
of a Green Army man, if you can visualize
yeah.
that.
If you look
And-
at your pointer finger and imagine it
The-
splayed open
Like
and
a
your
bit-
life juice
butterfly.
spilling away.
The ER dude said to another nurse, or I just remember, he banana peeled his finger. I was in shock. Like I cut my finger. I went to my boss and was like, hey, I cut my finger really bad. And he's like, let me see it. And he's like, I can't look at it. And he's like, let me see
I
it.
left
You
a
don't
trail.
have to look. Yeah. And I just turn away and I open my hand that's
And
covering my finger. And he goes, you gotta get in the truck. And so, but they had, they told me afterwards that I had sliced my finger open from top to bottom, and I had just missed the tendon, and the tendons were falling out of my finger.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah, so
Yes.
they stitched it up. 11 stitches later, got a check in the mail for $14.75 from Chalgo Union. I threw it away, and that's right when I learned how to ride a
throw it away?
motorcycle. So I would ride around with my finger up in the air because I had a little cast on it.
Oh my gosh. And
that-
everybody just thought you were saying, I'm number one on this bike. I'm number one.
Look at this fucking asshole
Exactly.
on this motorcycle.
Anyway,
According to gay culture, though, if you're riding around with your on a motorcycle with your index finger extended, it means you're looking.
ooh.
Not true. I made that up.
Oh, I was going to say, okay. I'm
Just
ready
like,
in that-
I haven't heard
really
that.
Hey, the
one.
road
I
is
haven't heard
long
that.
and lonely.
I'm just really into fingering.
Well, the reason we have Rico here today is because he has a very exciting story we know little to nothing about.
Yes.
And
do.
we're excited to hear it.
Yeah.
Can we
You want me to get
Yeah,
started?
let's
Do it.
pump it
Do
in.
up.
Is this a person? This is something you experienced? Is this your,
Yeah,
This is your
this is
straight from the life of Rico.
Yeah. This is an incident that exactly happened. Actually, to be specific, because I do want the timeline to be right and everything. This happened April 3rd, 1997, which would have been Thursday, as a matter of fact.
Go back.
Did you know that when you looked it up, or do you have a brain that can determine the day of the week?
Well, good that you asked that.
Because that's super cool.
Well,
If you were like Jesus was born on a Thursday.
Well, and the reason I remember it so clearly because it was 2 days before my birthday.
Oh, there
So
you go.
my birthday's April 5th, so it's like 2 days before. I'll never forget April 3rd. And the year that it happened, it made world news. So.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that in a second. I
Yes.
mean, I'll do this all chronologically.
I got a preview of this story.
A little bit, yeah. I gave you a snippet on.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I was gonna say I gave him a little snippet. There's some YouTube video footage from several different news outlets and shows. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna title this particular segment "Seattle Street Samurai Guy." That's what we're gonna go ahead and preface this with.
Right.
Anybody that's local here in Washington, they would definitely remember on that particular day that I'm referring to about a gentleman on 2nd and Pike in downtown Seattle that had a large samurai sword, wearing camo outfit and dark sunglasses and a black leather jacket.
And I think at one point in the podcast we have mentioned that at least 3rd and Pike in Seattle has its own goddamn Twitter account.
Wait, really?
To how much shit happens right there. Like 3rd and Pike, 2nd and Pike in Seattle is such a weird.
It's a nightmare zone.
It's a nightmare, and as far
It's
as
also
I'm
a big
aware,
tourist stop too.
right.
So.
And I think from what I understand, like that area is just so fucky is because the
Technical
police
term.
department will oftentimes kind of funnel a lot of stuff to that area because it's easier to police a small area where you have a concentrated crime.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because they could like crack down on 3rd and Pike, 2nd and Pike, but then everyone would disperse everywhere
It's like
else.
funneling sheep into the
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
like the scene
So
from It.
better to have one
Kill
awful
it.
area versus a citywide
Exactly.
thing.
And that's part of the reason that they do that with Pioneer Square. There's that
Yes.
big arched gazebo there,
Yep.
and there's a park, and then they just
I used to work
happen-
in Pioneer Square,
Yeah,
and
so
yes,
you'll
it's,
know that pretty much it's a
was my first
homeless
job in Seattle.
encampment that's taken care of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty
Mhm.
much, yeah. It's not too trashy, but you certainly wouldn't want to go there at night, and
great,
you wouldn't
no.
want to really go there during the day.
It was my first job in Seattle was down in Pioneer Square as a valet at the Marriott. That's right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a good introduction to the city.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sorry. Yes, we digressed. 2nd and Pike.
Yeah.
With the.
Parking garage. Oh, you want me to?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay,
Sorry.
yeah, no
I was
worries. I
tired.
was like, okay, I can. So I was going to say 2nd and Pike. 1 block up from the Pike Place Market is 2nd and Pike. There is a parking garage there, and at the time there was the Olympic Broiler restaurant below the parking garage, and now it's I believe called the Turf Restaurant. I know the owner, and he sold it quite a few years ago. So anyway, back to the timeline and starting this out here. So the incident started at, well, to be exact, it was Thursday, April 3rd, 1997, and it started at exactly 11:11 a.m. On 2 and Pike.
Specific.
So, yeah, very. I mean, I just...
11:11 is always one of
I
those
lo-
like, oh, that's fun.
Well, yeah.
Make
it's-
a wish.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I wish this never happened.
Yeah. So, anyway, this, unbeknownst to me, this guy comes into the pawn shop that I'm working at, and he's wearing, like I said, camo pants, camo shirt, and like Terminator sunglasses, which he never took off, by the way.
Of course, yeah.
Because he
And,
had Terminator eyes. There were.
I don't
And Tony
know.
back.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that he had those, wraparound type dark black glasses, and she didn't take them off, and he was an inside building. So I didn't think about that. What I knew that from my training from a young kid or whatever, that if somebody has cash and they want to buy something, you sell it to them. That is the way, the American way.
Yep.
So,
especially at a pawn shop.
perhaps, yeah, you think. I mean, money comes and money goes, but you'd prefer it to come rather than go. So, no reference there. So, anyway, for our in the gutter listeners, anyway, I digress. So the guy comes in and he walks up to the counter, and in that particular display case was our knives case. We had like bayonets in there, small folding knives, and the bottom of the showcase had the larger knives, in particular very large samurai swords that may or may not have been 440 tempered stainless with a razor type finish on it that even Jaime Lannister would be proud to wield, okay? Let's just put it into a Game of Thrones perspective.
Good.
That motherfucker was sharp. Like, you could tap it on somebody's arm and their arm would just fall off just by simply glancing it. Yeah.
So you're selling razors out of your...
Right. That happen to be 3.5 foot long razors that are, a quarter-inch thick.
And this is your shop at the time?
Well, the one that I was working
You were
I
working
worked
there.
there. Yeah,
Okay.
no, I was not affiliated as far as not an owner. No, just a lowly employee, very ignorant.
Now, did the sheath have a nice, Asian themed...
No, but it did.
paint
It
job on
definitely did have a sheath, and it was just a regular black, kind of a matte finish, and it had the kind of fancy gold where the handle is. It's kind of got the stitch lace, and then it's got the gold ring around it.
Okay, so your classic Japanese
Pretty
samurai
much,
sword.
pretty much classic Japanese sword.
And this is, I'm assuming, is in the case next to the like fist gauntlet with like the iridescent, like curved Klingon.
Well, actually, in the same case.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's like a brass knuckle, but it has huge blades on it, and it's like a half moon. And the Klingons use that and just flail it around and behead people left and right. And you just put one on each hand and just go to town like
legend says
Edward
you have to
Scissorhands.
draw blood before you can put it away,
Right?
which makes it tough to display.
What was that?
No, that's just Star Trek.
Oh, okay. Star Trek.
Okay.
Is that what the Klingons believed?
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy walks in and goes up to the case. I'm at the back counter, and I see that he wants help because he's just standing there. So he says, I walk over to him, and he says to me, "I'd like to get that sword." And I said, "Well, that sword's $100." So he pulls out a $100 bill out of his pocket, slaps it on the counter. And I said, "Well, there's tax on that, $8.60.
Oh,
and
I'm good for it.
So I said, "I need to ring you up at the back because that's where we do business. I need to get your receipt and what have you." And so he follows me back. Before he goes back to the counter, though, he pulled out another $10 and slapped it on the counter. So I had $110. So he comes to the back counter, and I read him up his receipt. But before I did that, I took the sheath off of the samurai sword, and then now you're going to have to picture me in the samurai position holding the sword like this. And I said to him, "The last thing I want to see you do is go out here onto Two and Pike and go, Hwah! And this is me waving the sword in an upright position."
Yes,
right?
in a classic samurai
Exactly.
position.
The samurai warrior stance, upright, holding the
You
blade.
literally did this.
I did this
Okay.
and said it, and I put it
my
into
God.
his brain. But okay, and then
no.
right. So then I said that to him, and it's kind of like I referenced it to like if you're gonna buy a new Corvette and you're gonna drive it off the lot, the guy that's selling it to you is saying, "Now I don't want you to get in any trouble and go speeding down the streets." It's a bright red new Corvette. The first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna light him up out of the parking lot of the dealership all the way to your house, right? So I figured, all right.
Gonna twirl this fucker around.
Exactly. Yeah, how does it balance on it? All that,
No,
so.
he's going to go down to the fish market where they throw the fish and just
like
kind of
spear.
Yeah. He actually, with one fell swoop, he guts them, beheads them, and then the other guy catches it, and it's wrapped.
Beautiful.
Like, yeah, it's
Tourists
just one
are
fell
really
swoop.
impressed.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a showstopper.
I also want to mention that I miss when you're saying that it's $100, but the tax on is only like $8. I was just like,
60. I just remember the tax code back in the day.
what a glorious era that was before a tax rate of
Yeah.
10.1%.
This is pre-rail, pre-light rail, pre-tunnel, pre-convention center, pre. Yeah. So yeah, I did happen to put that little thing and thought bubble into his head. And I did then take a large black hefty bag and wrapped the sword up in there, put rubber bands all around it, because I did not want him just walking out of the store with this sword, just
with literally,
walking down the street, holding a sword, even if it's sheathed or whatever, just walking down the street.
No, you don't want him to like put it on his back like he's fucking
right,
a Dragon Ball
Conan
Z
the Barbarian,
character.
yeah, exactly, with a samurai sword
And
instead
then
of a
step on the
broadsword.
bus.
Do you want, sir? Do you want a box for that crossbow?
Yeah. Well, or do you want 10 or 15 rounds with that handgun purchase? Yeah, because I was gonna say that the knife case was right next to the gun case.
Of course it
Thank
was.
goodness he wouldn't have qualified.
Why, that purchase comes with 15 rounds of ammunition.
Yeah, exactly. 15 rounds. And then the guy responded to me at maybe not this particular guy, but you just said that with the little background, but okay. Anyway, so no, somebody said to me that just made a thought in my head is I sold somebody a gun and they said to me, do you guys sell bullets? And I said, yeah, we got boxes of this and whatever. And he says, no, I just need one. And I went,
I only need one.
I know, right? I ran his name like 3 times. Like I made him wait 6 days instead of 3 because I wanted some extra time.
On you.
Oh yeah, no, I have a conscience.
Fuck.
Like I'm
that,
not just
well,
gonna
it's not
do
even like I don't know. I'm sure that people would mean to imply you didn't have a conscience. So.
Oh, no, I didn't think you were. I just was like, I'm conscious. Like, if I see crazy, I'm going to do. I mean, by law, you have to treat everybody with, equal standards when it comes to anything like that. You can't discriminate.
But also, I mean, goes and says he only needs one. Like, what a fucking amateur, man.
Right.
At least get 2. Just,
Be
make
like,
sure.
I'm going hunting. I need whatever. Like,
Yeah.
That's kind of like the last stop cry for help.
and for the most part, I don't know anybody that hunts with a snub nose 357. Like, really? They're not out shooting.
Yeah, I'm going hunting.
Yeah.
I got a particular prey in
I'm
mind.
going squirrel hunting with my 357 mag, but there won't be any squirrel left when I'm
what
done.
are you hunting? The suicidal.
Fucking Dirty Harry out here.
Yeah.
Spinning the chamber.
I'm hunting my anger issues.
Oof.
Jesus.
Oh God. Right.
All right, so you sold. So you sold
so-
a maniac a sword.
Right. And unbeknownst to me,
Unbeknownst to you, yes.
because I just did what I was told,
Of
and that
course,
was
yeah.
do my thing. I'm sure I didn't need to add that little extra, but he seemed eloquent. He seemed put together, like he was able to form sentences, and other than the full camo outfit and never taking off his Terminator glasses, maybe that should have been a bell, but it wasn't.
Hey, it was 97. What do you expect?
Exactly.
No, T2 had just
exactly.
come out like 5 years ago. So.
Yeah, and this is like late 90s in downtown Seattle, and it was a crazy grunge rock, Pearl Jam, Nirvana,
I'm so upset I
Soundgarden.
missed this.
Yeah, it was absolutely nutso time down there. I mean, it was a free-for-all, nothing like it is now. So, anywho, he then leaves the store. And this was 11 when he came in. I would say probably within 5 minutes, I am looking out the front doors of the shop, and I see 2 of my beat police cops running down the street with their guns drawn, with their Glocks out, and they're running by the store with their guns out. And I'm like, what? So I was like, oh, something's going down. I mean, I've known these guys for years. And something's up, so I run out, and I see them stopping traffic, and then approach the guy standing on the corner in a camo outfit, holding a sword,
with Terminator glasses.
And there was no plastic bag, no sheath on the knife. I don't know where it went or whatever, but he kind of did exactly what.
So the sword was at no sheath, like it was just ready to go.
Oh yeah,
There was
he
a
bailed
naked blade.
Naked blade.
But I'm just thinking, like, he walked out of the store.
Just
I'm guessing
immediately
maybe he
ripped
went.
it off.
Yeah, he went into the alley because in the alley right next to our building was some dumpsters. So I'm guessing like he got rid of the sheath, got rid of the bag, and whatever,
Yeah.
and then walked across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sang a little song to himself to prepare.
I mean, technically, it's a very sharp sword.
It is very, very. It was very, very.
That
sharp.
would be
It
the
is still-
safest option, because if it was a dull sword,
Well, yeah, you want a clean
dull-
cut. You
dull
don't want
blades
a
do more
jagged cut.
damage.
There's nothing worse than being bludgeoned with a blunt instrument. I'd much rather be severed with a very sharp, preferably German steel, Zwillinger, Sullinger,
Oh, yeah, you gotta
Swiss
get quality.
Army, something quality.
I can
Yeah,
attest to
yeah.
this missing part of my finger.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah,
Were you
no,
using a
it's-
Henkel?
I believe this was an EXO brand.
See, all right. At least quality.
Yeah.
but if that mandolin was dull, it would have torn, and it would have been so much worse.
Exactly. I would have instantly known I'd done something bad. I would have had the inkling of just like, wow.
Oh my gosh. So
Madman on the street.
yeah, so Madman on the street. I run out. I see my two friends that are the beat police or whatever having this guy at gunpoint, and within about 15 minutes. The world stopped pretty much.
Yeah.
Helicopters started circling because all the news people and their helicopters, and plus the Washington State Patrol and the King County Police and whoever else, SWAT helicopters, you name
No,
it.
everybody. It's like
yeah.
the scene out of Blues Brothers where the whole fucking everybody comes down to the building.
Pretty much, and then they ended up closing 4 city blocks. They closed from 2nd Avenue to like 1st Avenue to like 3rd or 4th Avenue, and then 1 block in every direction. They had double-decker buses, not double-deckers, but you know the double-length buses that they have.
Oh, the accordion,
the accordion buses,
articulated buses.
Yeah. They took 2 of those and then parked them on 2nd Avenue
like a
sideways.
barrier.
Full of people, I might
No,
add.
well, you know what they were full of? SWAT and SPD.
nice,
they
nice.
brought in 50 to 70 SPDs and loaded them up
There's
into.
one guy with one sword.
Correct. And then they brought in the SWAT teams, who then posted in all the parking garages around it, facing him.
Like with
So-
full sharpshooters, we're
Absolutely,
talking the whole fucking
snipers.
gamut,
Because if he charged the police officers
Yeah,
or whatever,
I
whatever,
suppose.
and they didn't have quick enough reaction, they you got
to take 'em
You
out,
got to
yeah.
take them out.
All
So. And they didn't want to do that, so they tried. Well, they just dragged it out 11 hours, but that'll be the end of the story. Yeah, that'll be at the end.
I also want to mention that we have a one man with a sword and 50 SWAT officers, yet Washington is still an open carry state.
True. But and
97.
Yeah,
97.
97. Yeah.
11 a.m. There's not a lot going on.
No.
This is before the world went insane.
Right. So, anyway, I realize what's transpiring and how severe it's getting spiraling very quickly out of control. And
Did you try to give him his $100 back?
Well, it's funny that you should say that. That was a little bit further down the piece of paper, but no, that's all right. I can get to
You
that.
don't need to jump. You don't need
Yeah,
to-
no, it's
please
okay. Yeah, no, I can. I'll just move that up to the top of the thing. So my first solution to it. So I talked to the owner of the business, and I said, "Listen, I think I can solve this entire thing and make it go away if I go back and just offer him his $110, ask him for his receipt back that I gave him, and I'll give him back his money, and I'll just take the sword from him and be the winner, and I'll be the victor. I'll be on the corner saying,
I'll be the
winner,
hero of the
winner,
day."
chicken dinner. Like, booyah. Like, I saved the city.
Do we happen
You
to have
know?
a knight's outfit in the back of the
Hey,
store somewhere?
They put up the bat light, and I was there. So,
Who says chivalry is dead?
right? Oh, I try to say that it's not, but yeah, in this day and age, I think a lot of things have went by the wayside. My boss at the time said to me, "Well, when we do stuff like give money back to customers, we only give them half back. So offer them $50. We paid the tax on it, so we can't give them that. He gave us $100." 20 minutes ago, offer him $50. And I was like, all right, that's kind of cheesy. This is a hard situation. Give him the 100 and stop this escalation, especially if I can walk up to him because I just saw him 10 minutes ago and we were talking, you know, it was all good.
So here, minimum wage employee, you deal with the madman and try and get a fucking refund. For this.
Yeah. And then let alone like all the SWAT won't walk up to him. There's, 26 assault rifles pointed at him. People
So
in bulletproof
are they telling
vests.
him to put the sword down, or
Oh,
like
yeah.
what are they?
Absolutely.
Screaming.
But
So-
where are all the like people walking around and stuff?
Well, they kept
closed the blocks.
Well, they
Okay.
closed all the blocks. Yeah.
So
So with buses,
people
so
all run
put that
away or
bus
whatever.
in.
Well, yeah, they put the buses to blocks, so everybody was standing all on the street corner of like First and Pike, back behind the
Okay.
buses. He was
Yeah.
on Second and Pike, and the parking garage right on that corner.
Okay,
They had
all right.
established a perimeter.
There you
Right.
Oh, very much.
Yeah.
And
But
they
I was just
secured-
imagining
they-
him
and it
like
was-
chasing people and stuff, but he's
No,
just,
he's
no,
he's just
no.
dancing.
Like a
He,
fucking madman.
no, he was stationary.
Like
He
Grand
did
Theft
not
Auto
leave that
Vice City.
corner. So I tried when you asked that question, Dallas, the police officers started with a bullhorn and tried to get him to put the sword down. And then I went and made the suggestion that I would give him $50 to buy the sword back from him, and to
I can end this cheap.
and that I had to ask for the receipt to give him this $50. That was an extra clincher. I was like, that's way under my pay scale or anybody's pay grade, like to get chopped up into little pieces
Jesus.
for $50.
For $50.
Yeah, I'm worth a little bit more than that. Just saying. So and then after they were using the bullhorn, they then tried to negotiate with them by offering him Big Macs, and that didn't work.
I mean, that Mac sauce.
The McDonald's is only a block away.
Yeah,
It's
and,
right on the
that's
other
right.
corner
and
there.
at
which
this
is,
point, he's now been standing there for 3.5, 4 hours. It's now like 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Transpiring. All right.
Yeah, so they're figuring, and he hasn't sat down, and he's still clinching this.
Still
is like-
screaming, still fucking.
Yeah.
So was
he's-
he yelling?
He was shouting some crazy stuff, but like it was kind of like rambled,
Gibberish,
like
like word
gibberish.
salad kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, the CIA
And
put microphones in my brain. Shit.
Right,
I
right.
mean, that's true. But
and I
Notes
guess
in our pockets.
oh, word.
I found this out later, but I think it's relevant to the story, and I was going to put it's later, but this guy ended up being released from Western State 2 weeks before he walked into the shop, and I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and
he
he'd
was
been
able
there
to hold it together enough to.
form
look.
sentences and look and act fine, but
Yeah.
he'd been in Western State for 13 years.
And Western State's a mental asylum, I'm assuming.
Yes, it is
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah,
Wow.
it's Washington's equivalent to insane asylum for the extremely crazy, and a lot of them don't get out.
Okay.
So the
It's
technical
the mentally
term.
insane.
So it's
an insane
Washington's
asylum.
Arkham
Right.
Asylum.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's where criminals go that are insane, and it's where
Like if you
people-
plead insanity or you're shown
Oh,
to
you're-
be
correct,
not
correct,
with it.
correct.
Criminally
Then they
insane.
they
Okay.
lock you up in that place for the rest of your life.
Huh, that's wild.
And then other people only have to do 13 years apparently.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I hope that when you're driving up, when you're being, I don't know, not interred. That's not the right word.
Taken in.
When you're being, inducted.
Committed.
I've committed, yeah,
Thank you.
inducted. It's not a Hall of
Thank you.
Fame. It's not a Hall of Fame honor. It's not an Academy Award. You don't get a Grammy for being crazy.
I wish that in my head movie of this, when you're being committed, you're in an old like 1950s style car and you turn a corner and there's a big castle on the hill and it says
lightning strikes.
Western what's it called, Western Hospital for like the
Western Asylum or
the
whatever.
Western Asylum for like the seriously super fucking crazy. That's what I want to see on the sign.
So you want like a 90s cartoon aesthetic to your...
In everything of my life, yes.
Yeah.
All
That
the
makes
time.
sense.
That's
Yeah.
what I want.
All right, so he's on the street corner.
Yeah.
4
So
hours.
he's on. Yeah. Now it's like
4 hours in.
It's like 4 hours in.
Big Macs aren't working. You
Big
can't
Macs
get the
aren't
return.
working. No, Big
So
Macs aren't working.
Did he scoff at the fact that you were only able to give him half of the money that he dropped, or did you?
Honestly, I'd be pretty upset.
Did we not get that
it
far?
wasn't him that scoffed at me. It was
the police.
the SWAT department said that I'm not getting within 100 feet of him. The
What are you, fucking
SPD wouldn't let me get in front of him, and I was like, but he knows me. We're like, all the more reason for him to chop you up into smaller pieces. But no, I don't know if that's the case. But I mean, they would not let me get close, so I didn't get that opportunity. Plus, I can't. I would just be embarrassed to offer him $50 for somebody who just spent 110 on 20. Or at that point, it was an hour into it.
Well, you took it out of the store, so technically it's
Yeah,
used
well, I
item.
know, and you lost the sheath for it, and the plastic bag cost me at least 50 cents. And that sheath, I can't order just a sheath. I have to buy another knife. So what good is that? You know, that's worth $50.
Think about it from my prospects, guy.
I'm running a business here, not a charity.
All right, so
Yeah.
4 hours in.
4 hours
he's
in.
Screaming,
so,
Big Macs didn't work.
Right, Big Macs didn't work. So then the police took it to the next level. They decided to hit him with pepper spray grenades. They went and launched grenades into his capstan, which is what's another name for pepper spray.
Yeah,
capsaicin. It's capstan. And so they launched those, and to no avail. He just sat there and took the gas and inhaled deep and exhaled, and like it was a cigarette.
He really loves spicy food.
I guess, but he just
in this.
Molded by it. just been chugging Cholula since the age of 3. He's been training for this.
Oh God.
Jesus.
So, pepper spray didn't work. And then they decided to go with a little bit more hardcore option. And that was a 12-gauge shotgun shell with beanbag pellets in it.
Yeah, beanbag rounds.
Yeah, beanbag rounds.
Nice.
So they put
those are fucking gnarly.
6 beanbag rounds to his nuts.
Ooh,
to his nuts. Wow. Every one that hit him in the nuts just made him stronger. It was like giving
for the nuts.
They weren't aiming for the nuts. Most sensitive area.
Weakest point on a
male.
male.
I get you. It makes sense, but goddamn.
Triple-aught buck.
So how
7
far away
times
did
your
they shoot him from?
I would say
point blank.
No, because they kept their distance. I would probably say it was probably 30 feet.
All right, so
Shit.
they're playing
Across
big.
the street,
They're playing big
across
buck
the street.
hunter with the.
Yeah.
And he's just taking it.
He's taking it. I swear, the look on his face was like giving Popeye spinach. Every time he got a beanbag to the nuts, he just got that much stronger. He grasped it stronger. He held the sword up stronger. It was just,
Did the glasses even fall off?
no, didn't even shake his glasses.
That's
I didn't even
fucking
see
wild.
tears come down his face from the 4 gallons of capsaicin that he swallowed. So, so they tried that. No avail. So now it's okay. Now it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This thing's going on for 6 hours. Well, at this point, all the city blocks are closed off and everything. He's standing in front of a parking garage that has no less than 300 cars in it, and that's on 2 and Pike. They blocked it all the way off to 4th and Pike. So Century Square, or Century Plaza, that's on 3rd, has a underground parking garage. It was locked down. There's another parking garage around the corner. It was locked down.
God. So you have like 1,000
people.
Thousands of people that can't get their cars out of the parking garage due to this standoff situation.
And this is '97, so there wasn't a Starbucks in every corner.
Well, there was Starbucks for sure. Maybe not on every corner, but even the Starbucks employees were out of the store standing on the spectacle watching to see what was going to happen next.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, so they decided, well, let's bring a very large armored tank down 2nd Avenue that has the big...
For a samurai sword.
For a samurai sword.
Okay.
I didn't even know they had a tank in the
he had 6
SPD
stars
arsenal.
on Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. No, I was going to say like 8, but I mean, really. SPD has a tank, yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
In 97 too.
Tank
Yeah,
97?
yeah. It was
That's
a tank would had the 50 caliber
That's
cannon
before
off the front.
militarization of police. Like,
Right.
I did not know they had that in their arsenal.
So is this because I'm young and I don't understand timelines of things? Is this before tasers were readily commonly used in police departments?
It was.
So,
97, they were still like.
And
it was
I'll tell you what,
was-
if you get hit in the nuts with a beanbag shell, taser ain't gonna
Taser
do
is not
nothing.
gonna
Oh
stop
yeah, let alone 6 to 7 repetitive shots, like boom, boom, boom.
Over there. Seattle, Washington. A deranged man wields a samurai sword and holds a street corner hostage. He is convinced he is possessed by the devil.
Everybody on the sidewalk, not in the street.
Cops don't take any chances. SWAT immediately arrives with weapons of their own. The man is full of rage and oblivious to the crowd. Police are on high alert as the man expertly brandishes his weapon, prepared to kill the invisible demons who haunt him. But before he can harm anyone, the tactical team tries to disorient the deranged man using non-lethal beanbags. The intent is to get him to drop his sword.
It's the tank.
So yeah,
So
fucking
now,
tank rolling
okay,
down.
beanbags, pepper spray, all that didn't work.
Major
So,
American city, we got a tank rolling down
yeah,
the streets.
tank. Who would have thought?
So it was legit
Armored.
caterpillar track
Correct,
tank with a
correct.
fucking gun on the front of it.
Correct,
50
50 caliber
like, cannon
barrel
on
on the front with the steel lid that shuts with the person inside driving it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, with the bulletproof
Wow.
glass windshield on it that can take,
Yeah.
any bullets won't go through it.
So he's riding through St. Petersburg like James Bond in GoldenEye.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's a very obscure.
No, I didn't know.
reference.
I didn't know Seattle had a tank either.
I did
wonder if
not
they
either.
got it from because I know that there's a military training facility down in like Des Moines that they might have. Maybe
military.
they-
I was going to say, I know there's the WSP Academy by my house in Burien.
Yeah, it's pretty
They-
close.
Yeah, it's on First
Yeah,
Avenue.
I wonder
But
where
no,
they keep
actually-
it. Do they have to feed it like hay and stuff?
Do they have to feed
Do
the
they have a
tank hay?
stable for it?
No, they have to feed it testosterone. Because it's a tank with a large load, just saying.
They just pour Monster into the gas tank.
Yeah. It
Oh
is,
my God.
It is 50 caliber.
They
yeah.
nicknamed it Kyle.
Oh, no.
I hate the name Kyle. So
I know you
much.
do. That's why I said it.
You're a monster, Zach.
God.
No, I'm just delirious with blood loss.
So, okay, I'm watching now. I'm looking up the street. I'm seeing this tank rolling down the street. It gets positioned. I actually see the top of the turret spin and point towards the dude. And I was like, if he fires that cannon, it's not only going to take out the corner of the parking garage, the restaurant, and the building next door, and probably the parking garage because it's at an angle. It's
Well,
going
yeah, he's not fucking Deadpool. He's not
Right.
gonna cut the
right. And I was just like, well, and after talking with the cops or whatever, they did it as an intimidation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thinking that they would scare him, like, oh my gosh, I've got a tank barrel pointed at me. Now I better let go of this
He's
sword.
already been hit in the nuts 6 times.
I know.
And like,
But-
if you ask a random dude on the street, you're like, what would be more intimidating? Getting a tank barrel pointed at you, which yes is very intimidating, or getting hit in the nuts 6 times repeatedly
shotgun beanbag.
with a shotgun
Yeah.
beanbags to probably
Yeah.
be like, yeah, shotgun beanbags.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No,
Yeah.
honestly, how his nuts didn't explode on impact from that? It's just
Right.
Maybe he's wearing a jock strap and they're just in there.
He prepared for this.
Yeah.
But how many times truly in your lifetime could you say that you were attacked by a tank? I got shot at by a shotgun. I got hit with some buckshot.
That's a
but
lot of street
I've
cred.
I've never actually could say I was rolled up on with a tank. I just made an illegal right. Next thing I know.
He's probably too crazy to tell a story later anyway, so nobody's going to even believe him.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
but if you think about it, if you go to jail, like I wouldn't want to fuck with that guy. He took 6 rounds to the nuts and got a tank called in on him with a fucking sword.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right, so we're about six hours in.
Yeah,
tanks
we're about
tanks
6
rolled
out.
in.
Tanks rolls in. So, guy ends up popping the top to the tank or whatever, and
Hey,
I
you better knock it off.
Oh no! I gotta say, I was shockingly surprised. The hatch opens up, and a guy with no shirt and muscles for miles, with a bandolera of grenades across his chest, black mark. He looked just like Rambo, but
gonna
way
say, like,
hotter.
fucking Rambo?
Rambo is what I'm serious. Ripped, and he had the grenades
Jesus.
across his chest. He had the AR-15 across his back,
But
and
like,
he had.
was he hot?
Way. That's the whole thing.
Super
I
hot.
said shockingly surprised. I didn't say he scared me. Oh, no. I
like-
was like, oh my.
He scared me, but in a fun way.
or maybe a George Takei. Oh my. Yeah.
They're like, okay, get a sword, stand on a street corner.
Right. Man.
So you too could have Rambo roll up on you.
Yeah. So all he did was get out of the tank and look at the samurai sword, and then walk to the security comm bus from the Seattle Police Department, parked in the intersection, and got on the bus with the other 50 police officers that had gotten takeout food from various restaurants, and they're all scarfing and having coffee, and and they're all getting
good time.
Oh yeah,
Just another day at the office.
Oh yeah, no, people were getting off work early so they could get on the overtime bus because they weren't actually having to do anything. No, they were getting $58 an hour for 12 hours.
Ordering Panera fucking,
Absolutely. Oh man, you wouldn't have believed the bags of food and pizzas and sandwiches that I saw going.
No, I used to be a pizza delivery guy, and to make that delivery, goddamn, that would have been intense.
Oh well, yeah, and the tip would have been amazing.
Hi,
yeah.
guys. Yeah. Domino's.
Yeah. I got 35 pizzas, and I got 62 Cokes, and I got 44 coffees.
It's just me with fucking Domino's themed bulletproof
Right.
vest.
I'm surprised that in certain areas of the United States that delivery people don't have just branded Kevlar.
Yeah.
I mean, just give it time.
I mean, the simple solution would be to just not deliver to those areas, but
Yeah.
I think branded Kevlar is the way of the future.
I could tell you a story later about delivering to bad areas in Kalamazoo, where I was a Domino's worker.
Yeah, no, I do want to. I was gonna say I do want to hear more of that, but interestingly intrigued. Yeah, like I say, the guy rolled in with his tank, and he just assessed the situation. Then, just walked on the bus and sat down with everybody else, and except he looked cooler and hotter than everyone else. So
I mean, here they had cheesy rolls, so
Yeah. Well, he didn't have. Yeah, he had all that. He was all good. So anyway, I'm just getting I'm getting a visual in my head. I was like, oh boy, is it warm in here? No. So anyway, so I have relatives that live in Germany, and I have relatives that live in Canada, and my friends that own the restaurant on the corner that this gentleman was, I don't know if he was a gentleman, that the crazy samurai sword guy was standing in front of, was a Greek-owned restaurant, and so his relatives all lived in Greece. So come about 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish or so, I get a phone call from my mom, and she says, I just got a phone call from my aunt, Helvig, I'll just say. I have enough relatives over there. I'm not sure which aunt called her. So, anywho, she said, isn't that the pawn shop that your son works at? When we visited you last year, you took us down there at the Pike Place Market. I recognize that. And then my mom's like, yes.
Because this is international news.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's live on, I was going to say at the top of this piece of paper, it says now live on CNN, because that's exactly what it was. It was world feed. No. It was live on the New York coast. It was live in Germany, live in Greece, all around the world.
I lived in Michigan at the time, and I remember seeing this.
Yeah, it was world news. World news. Yeah, because it was the big deal. Shut down the city for 11 hours.
Wild.
Yeah. So I just thought that was crazy that we're getting phone calls from around the world saying, that's going down. End result is they ended up calling in some clinical psychiatrist because the guy was mentally unstable.
Shocker.
Yeah. Well, and I did say that he had been just released from Western State. And so they decided that if they use a large fan, and now we're going to about 10:30 at night. So he's been there for almost
12 hours.
Yeah, almost 12 hours. So they end up using this large fan and 3 fire hoses and start soaking him with ice cold water with fire hoses. And he's taking it out, from 25 feet away, 3 fire hoses. You got to figure that's a lot of pressure.
And this is April in Seattle, so it's
cold.
Yeah, it's cold and it's night and whatever. Yeah. So they're hitting him with these fire hoses, and he's holding his ground. He's not letting go of that sword, and they have the fan blowing on him. And the reason they did that was to give him hypothermia. Sure. It would make him relax his muscles.
Basically, yeah,
he'd collapse, and he wouldn't be able to hold a sword because he'd been gripping it so tightly for 11 hours. So
Wild.
Little
yeah.
did they know it froze the sword in place in
Yeah,
his
yeah,
hand.
I was getting to that they used ice water. No, I'm just kidding. No.
So I think I get it. This is the origin story of Sub-Zero.
yeah, right.
Nice to meet you.
Oh,
We got
man.
there.
Oh, and the puns continue. It's a little bit punny, but anyway.
I mean, with every episode, we have to mention Arnold Schwarzenegger at least once.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's actually,
oh,
I mean,
gosh.
this is the first time you've been a guest, so it's actually a thing. We've wrote into the what is it? What did we write?
The writer.
Not the contract, but the charter. Of
Yes,
the,
there you go.
podcast that we must mention Mr. Freeze,
Okay.
or Arnold Schwarzenegger at least once an episode.
Well,
So I had to work that in. I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem. Well, I hope to be back. No. Sorry. Had to go there.
Oh,
I couldn't steal his line, so I made up my own. Yeah, I don't want to get sued for copyright infringement for taking Arnold's line. So, anywho, they use 3 fire hoses, this big fan. They blast him with it. They end up then taking a fire ladder off a fire truck, extend it out, and slowly inch it towards him while hitting him with the 3 fire hoses and pin him up against the side of the building with the
Water pressure?
ladder.
Oh, with the ladder. Okay.
Yeah, the fire hoses are hitting him
They're in for a
continuously.
long one as the crazed man's behavior becomes more erratic and nighttime finally sets in. More serious measures are underway. Cops still avoid using real bullets. Now they try to subdue the suspect by spraying a non-toxic substance that irritates the skin. Next, the SWAT team blasts them with thousands of gallons of water shot from high-powered hoses. The water acts like a cannon, forcing the man down. Police make certain he doesn't come back fighting and pin him against the wall with a ladder. Success. And not a bullet is fired, and not a soul is hurt. One man's psychotic episode comes to a close. Paramedics take him to a local psychiatric hospital, where he can fight his demons with the help of a doctor instead of a sword.
So anywho, that's how they ended up subduing him after all that was said and done, and it took the city of Seattle 11 and a half, almost 12 hours.
Jesus.
Man.
That's fucking wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And-
Don't they? I guess they don't like tranquilizers
Well,
or what?
okay,
That's
well-
tough because you never know if someone is having an episode because
Yeah.
of a mental issue
Or if they're
it's a
high.
drug issue.
And then
and
you
if
could
you-
kill
accidentally
them.
kill
You can
him,
kill them.
Yeah, that's
especially
not an elephant.
Firing a projectile needle at someone is probably the least safe.
Yeah.
Second only to a bullet.
Especially in a busy intersection in a major American
Yeah,
city.
Yeah.
All right.
So there is just a little bit, and it's the last part of what I just wrote down for thought bubbles. It's aftermath/fallout, and it's important because it's pretty major. The aftermath of that was, and Dallas just referenced it actually, is during that episode, everybody, it's on every channel for 10 hours on channels. Every local channel, every CNN, every news channel, it's all day.
Yeah, it's national news.
National news,
Or
and it's ongoing.
international news.
Yeah, it's like a version of the O.J. Simpson slow Bronco thing, except it's a
Yeah.
slow. What's gonna happen? Are they gonna get
Look how wet that guy's getting with those fire hoses.
Well, or I was just
Oh, that
thinking,
sword's gonna rust.
it was before reality TV. Everybody just
Yeah.
wanted to know if he was going to make a move, and they were going to have to shoot him.
No,
and they
and
want to
and
see
and-
that live.
And
you know?
cable news was fairly
Right.
a new novelty at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, very much. Yeah, might want to call an ambulance for that neighbor. I don't know on that one. So the aftermath, fallout. Being as that this thing lasted like 12 hours or whatever, people during that time were calling 911, and they were giving the 911 their way of handling the situation.
Oh my god.
So
So,
there's
so
some-
they're calling
and-
in suggestions.
Yes, exactly.
Can I make a request? Hi, I don't know if this is
well, yeah, no, and to
Like it's
Dallas's
fucking Casey Kasem.
right. No,
To bring that up from our previous conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna go with it was Larry King taking the lines,
There
but
you go.
yeah, saying live on CNN, how would you handle the situation in Seattle?
Coming up at 5:30, how the hell would you handle this situation with the weirdo down in Seattle?
I suggest omega-3 vitamins are the most purest form of omega-3 vitamins in my infomercial.
Now my suspenders are too tight, but I'm taking suggestions.
Right, exactly. So back up to what I was saying. So the end result of that is that all those people calling ended up overloading the 911 circuitry, and it ended up blowing 911 out for the entire state of Washington for 16 hours. Nobody could call 911. So there was accidents, there was shootings, and they couldn't respond except by police radio.
That's fucking
that's the
wild.
only way. Police radio.
Huh.
Or
Wow.
a cellular phone to
So
the police.
King County's 911 center was just totally fucked.
The state of
entire
Washington's
state of Washington.
911.
Yeah.
It's all connected. It's
Right,
not
it's
just
all- yeah, it's not just one county. Right,
it's
right.
State of Washington.
Jeez.
So so the entire thing went down. So because that happened, the very next day in Olympia, the Washington State Legislature had to pass emergency legislation for a non-emergency phone number, so that never happens again. And that's the phone number that's now in
Yeah, that's
place.
still-
That was never there, but it's
Yeah.
now in place. But that emergency legislation and to have the systems redone and add that number cost us taxpayers a little over $4 million.
Wow.
I think that's $4 million well spent.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
Me too.
It's always
Absolutely.
good.
No,
It's like
absolutely.
old man yells at cloud.
Yeah.
Should not
Yeah.
call 911. He should call the non-emergency number.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
No matter
right.
what that cloud said to him.
And I'm just wondering, like, all
Probably
the
something racist.
incoming, maybe.
I mean, clouds are white.
Oh, he pulls the white card. Dang, not the race card, but the white card.
Wow,
Jeez.
that's really interesting. I never knew.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, well,
Or
and then
would have ever thought.
yeah, and the other little interesting factoid is on that the state of Washington ended up losing approximately $2 million in downtown revenue to the parking garages, to Westlake Center, because it was a third of the month. They lost that in revenue. The biggest cost to the city was the 13.
The tank. Was it the tank?
Oh no! I was going to say the retail merchants were out a couple million. Nike
yeah,
Town, the
definitely,
restaurants,
definitely.
the parking garages. Think of
Sure, it's a
1,000 vehicles that didn't pay their $21 for the
It's a
day.
big tourist area. It's a big
Right.
commercial area.
All that,
Yeah.
all that, and all the people that couldn't get their car, that had to take like a bus or a cab to get their car the next day.
Well, and then you have to
they
factor in
couldn't get
Rambo
home.
guys.
Eyeliner.
That's on the second number I'm going to give you. That's not in that.
Luckily,
2
at this time, Yelp didn't exist because all the
No.
tourists had been like, Seattle, 0 to 5. Would not revisit.
No,
Turns
I
out
bet-
those crazy,
Yeah.
crazy samurai
I
men
bet.
running around.
Yeah.
Cold.
Samurai guy with a sword shut everything down for a fucking day.
We're told this happens. He only paid $100.
Exactly. But he's
So-
got balls of steel.
I will say this about Seattleites: balls of steel.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we're saying that you may or may have not kickstarted. You alone might be the reason that we now have a non-emergency number.
In some,
That
in
may
some
or may
small
not
way,
be
yes.
a correct analogy, but I wouldn't know any truth to that.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah, I wouldn't. You know.
I mean, if he seemed slightly more unhinged, if he was just like, "Hey, I was wondering if I might be able to buy that sword for cutting,"
right.
you're like,
yeah.
please get out of my
Kill the
sword.
innocent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We wouldn't
yeah.
have the police non-emergency number, and we would be $6 million richer.
Yeah, something
Right.
like that.
Right.
State
Yeah.
This is 97 money, so probably like 18.
$18.
We could
Yeah.
convert it and then times it by the population at the time and figure it out, but I'm not going to do it.
So the end number for the Seattle Police Department, for the SWAT team, for the tank, and for the 60 overtime police officers at
And for
time and a
Rambo.
half ended up coming out to $13.8 million in SBT
Whoa.
overtime and
That's fucking
SWAT
wild.
resources.
I love how you think in money, like me. How much did this cost?
Well, I wanted to know, but
Yeah.
and I did the research before I came here to get these specific numbers. I did look up and do the research because I did wonder what the end game. I knew about the non-emergency, I knew about the dollars, but I didn't know the exact numbers for this SPD and for the $2 million to the businesses.
That's a
in
fucking
downtown.
That's a lot
fucking
of
wild
money.
story.
Yeah, it's a little over $20 million for 12 hours of incident.
Yeah. So I think you already laid it out there. So I have to ask Rico. So what'd you learn?
Wow. Well, the first thing I learned is always make people take their sunglasses off before making a purchase so you can look for that one lazy eye that's
little
drifting,
twitchy.
with the twitching, the drifting to the left, and when they can't, would say, look me in the eye, and they can't because one's drifting. Yeah, that might be a sign. And the camo fatigues might have been a sign.
I never trust anybody in a full camo outfit in
No, there was this
especially-
kid I went to high school with, and he was a year younger than us, and he had some pretty serious mental issues, but he was still functional. He
was that kid.
You couldn't talk to him, but he was that kid, kind of.
Yeah.
And everybody just kind of left him alone. But he wore full camo to school every single day.
sounds about right, yeah.
And a couple weeks ago, I actually saw him walking down First Avenue, and I only knew it was him because it was the full camo suit.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I haven't seen this kid in like 7 years, but I knew him right away.
Good
Oh
on
my
you for
gosh.
sticking to an aesthetic, but goddamn, did you have
Right.
to make it the creepiest one?
Well, that
It
and
is a spooky aesthetic.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the.
It's a little insulting.
My parents are
too.
going through a divorce, and I don't know how to deal with it aesthetic. You know, somebody who has a lot of nunchucks and camo lying around.
I'm just thinking the guy probably plays a lot of Call of Duty and Fortnite and whatever. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's got his camo hat, his camo backpack.
No, he has one of those beer helmets, but instead of beers, it's Monster.
Oh, monster. Yeah, you're right.
Well, that was didn't know that was part of Seattle's history.
That was fucking
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah,
No,
that's something that nobody but probably until everybody that listens to this will know, but maybe eight people knew that.
I grew up
and
in-
everybody speculated.
I grew up
Nobody
in
knew the
Michigan,
truth.
and I remember seeing that story on the news, and I had no idea that it was that outrageous and cost that fucking much, and B that our own little friendo here had a small hand in it.
May or may not have. I forgot to refer myself as to the other party. Somebody translated all that
friend
to
of
me.
mine.
Yes, I should have been using myself as a second person, but I just thought it would be easier to tell the story as a first person teller. So it's
legally you
second-hand
can.
Yeah,
information.
exactly.
I do full non-disclosure of this may or may not have happened.
All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody.
My name is Zach
All
Kowalski.
right.
You can follow me at Zach Kowalski on Twitter. Anybody want to say
I'm
goodbye?
Alex, and I don't do social media because it is against my religion.
I'm Dallas, and I'm deleting Facebook soon.
I'm Rico B, and I think I'm on board with Dallas, and you
Yeah.
don't have to follow me because I'm just Rico B. If you know me, and that's good enough for me.
Beautiful.
The So What Did You Learn podcast is brought to you by the So What Did You Learn network. Theme written and recorded by Jacob Rose. Our logo was designed by Stevie Van Bronckhorst. Further work of hers can be found at stevievanb.com.